What's up, y'all, and welcome back to some more rSlash Real Talk Stories with your boy RT and my dude Dale. Y'all, today we are going to dive into some real talk Am I the A-hole stories with an update. And today's OP, his story just made my skin crawl. It just made me cringe, especially when hearing this one particular phrase: practice child, practice kid. I don't know if there are any parents listening. I don't know if there are any parents to be listening, but just hearing that one phrase in this particular story made my soul boil. I was livid when I heard that, but I want to hear what you guys think. So without any further ado, let's dive into the story, Dale.
My male, 19. Parents had me young and on accident. My childhood was nothing but money troubles and listening to my parents scream at each other. Things only got better when my mom left my dad and started seeing my stepdad. He brought financial stability and is more of a father to me than my bio dad ever was. They have a daughter together, my sister Melody. I'm not blind. I know they shower her with attention and buy her everything they can because I had nothing when I was her age. When I was younger, it frustrated me to see her loved in a way I never was. But now I know that my mom did her best with the experience and resources she had. It's just bad luck that it worked out the way it did. With that context out of the way, Melody recently turned 4 and my parents went all out. They invited not only all the family in the area, but also some of Melody's friends from daycare and their parents. Once my mom and the other moms had a few drinks each, they started gossiping. The conversation, which I was not part of but was listening to because I was bored watching the kids, turned to sharing stories about their kids. My mom, instead of sharing cute stories about Melody, decided to tell a group of random moms about the time I tried to make my parents stop fighting by collecting change lying around the house and giving it to them. I was 7. She was laughing the whole time and ended the story with, the things you learn with the oldest, practice kids, am I right? She continued to say that my stepdad and her never fight in front of Melody. She thinks that's why she's so much easier than me. That story is a painful memory for me, so I was hurt that she thought it was so hilarious, but I didn't say anything and tried to brush it off. The moms started talking about kindergarten because a few of them have kids who will be starting in the fall. My mom, who by then was wasted, decided that it would be a great idea to share the story of how she acted like a Karen at my old school and got them to let me do gym class in my winter boots because that was the one pair of shoes I had. Again, she told the whole story with a grin on her face and laughing. The last thing she said made almost blow up. Thank goodness Melody can have all the shoes she wants, though with how much stuff OP pulled at that age, maybe it was best I didn't waste money on the practice kid. I texted my mom, I'm glad you find how poor and miserable we were so funny, but it really upsets me how you clearly think of me as practice for Melody. I'm going so someone should watch the kids. I then left without talking to anyone. When I got home, I checked my texts and found a rant from her, saying that they were her stories and she could feel any way she wanted. She called me sensitive for not taking a joke and suggested I get a therapist because I was jealous of a 4-year-old. I already have a therapist and she knows that. She said I was rude for leaving. I was too upset to respond then, but after some thought, I may be in the wrong. Am I the a-hole?
You know, first off, I think that there's probably a lot of unresolved hurt in this particular situation. There's probably some unresolved hurt that OP is feeling from, experiencing the divorce between his mom and dad. There's probably a lot of unresolved hurt that OP's mom's feeling from, going through all of the abusive relationship situations that she experienced with OP's dad. However, I don't care what kind of trauma you experience, okay? Let's make this clear. I'm not justifying jack squat. I don't care what kind of, trauma you experience. I don't care what kind of issues you go through. I don't care what you've seen, what you've experienced, what you've heard, what you've dealt with firsthand. Nothing justifies you speaking this way about your child, in my personal opinion. Now, I could be just that anomaly, and I don't think that I am. I feel like most parents with a sane head on their shoulders would probably be thinking the exact same way that I'm thinking right now, but I don't care what it is that you experience. You put yourself on the back burner and you put your kids on the forefront. I don't care if it's your children from 2 separate marriages or from the same marriage or whatever the case is, but like, this is outright unacceptable, disrespectful, and hurtful behavior by the mom. There is nothing that justifies that. Well, I don't even understand why there's alcohol at a child's birthday party. Now, I mean, granted, I get it. They're parents, they're adults. They're doing what they're gonna do. It's fine. You know, it's wine, whatever. But to drink to the point where you are like drunk, you know, you're drunk, can't maintain your composure, you're just being outright rude and disrespectful at a 4-year-old's birthday party, let alone. I mean, I can understand if maybe the kids are a little bit older and you got a bunch of, you know, the adults there and the kids, you know, can kind of keep after themselves, but 4-year-olds, they need to be supervised. So I do not think that wine or any kind of alcohol is probably the best idea for said situation. Either way, people, you can do what you want. I'm not gonna judge you. It's not my place to judge and do that. That's just my thoughts personally. But I feel like the hurt that OP's mom has been feeling, partnered with the alcohol that she's consuming, partnered with the new life that she's been able to have with financial stability, partnered with her most likely trying to make herself appear to be a certain way in front of all of these parents that are currently around her. All of that together probably explains why she is saying and doing what she's doing. She's trying to make herself appear to be better. She's probably trying to, you know, paint this big, beautiful picture of, you know, the way that her life is now in comparison to the way it was. But, you know, you don't throw your kids under the bus for the sake of your image. You don't throw anyone under the bus for the sake of your own image, because if you do that, my personal opinion, that just makes you look even worse as a person, as a human being, period, point blank. OP is definitely not the a-hole. OP, you are not the a-hole, in my personal opinion, for how you responded, for deciding to respectfully send this message to your mother, letting her know that you were exiting this particular abusive and uncomfortable situation, that she needed to make sure that there were eyes on the kids. After all, she is the kid's mother. She's your sister's mother, so she needs to be responsible. And after all, she feels like this child is the better of the two of y'all, at least from how she's speaking. You're the practice kid, and her new daughter, her youngest daughter, is, you know, the golden child. I just think that that's just stupid. Calling your child, your oldest child, a practice kid just because the situations in which you had that child under were not necessarily the best in comparison to where you're at now. I just think that is utterly disgusting, in my personal opinion. So, OP, you're better than me, because if I'm honest, I probably would have been up in the midst of those parents instantaneously, and I would probably say some things that I probably shouldn't have, just to defend myself, just to defend, you know, the situations that I had experienced in those hurtful stories that my mother was sharing about me. If I was in your shoes, you handled that with grace, diligence, and poise, in my opinion. So, you are definitely not the a-hole. I'm just curious to see what the parents who were present, what they thought about these stories, like the look on their faces, the responses that they had. Like, I mean, I would be really, really curious just to kind of be a fly on the wall when the parents kind of walk away from, you know, OP's mom, just to see what their thoughts are about what was going on at this particular moment. So, long story short, OP, you are not the a-hole. But you guys, this is not the end of the story, because we have yet another update for this particular story. So, Dale, take us into it.
Update. So, to start, I'd like to thank everyone who commented on my last post. I read through as many replies as I could, and some of y'all had me sobbing. Genuinely, everyone says that the internet is a cesspit of toxicity, but that's not true at all. Mushy feelings aside, here's the actual update. So, the first thing I did was talk to my stepdad. Contrary to some of y'all's assumptions, I don't live at my parents' house, so I asked him over to breakfast to talk on a day my mom had work, but I had off. He knows I usually plan around my mom's work schedule, so I think he knew it was serious beforehand. We sat down over eggs and I told him what had happened. He'd been doing something else at the time and was absolutely shocked. Apparently, my mom had told him a twisted version of events. According to him, she had said that I sent her an angry text because of a few harmless jabs and that she was only kidding and didn't mean any harm. She also had conspicuously left out her drunken text to me. His reaction to the actual content of her jokes can only be described as a deep sadness and frustration. He offered me true support and affirmation, something that I could never picture my mom doing in my million years. My mom can be nice, but she's not great at anything deeper than platitudes. What did I ever do to deserve him? He was also completely blindsided by the fact that there was alcohol at a kid's party. Apparently, he had left the planning to her and had no idea. I told him that I want to go very low contact with my mom for a bit and asked for his help to see him and Melody without having to deal with her. He said that he understood and agreed to have me over when she's not around. He told me he would get my mom help with her emotions and her drinking problem, and I told him that she probably wouldn't cooperate and promised to help him get her the help she needs in what ways I can. A half hour after my stepdad left, I texted my mom the following. "Hey Ma, I've mulled over what happened at Mel's party, and I've come to the realization that our relationship is not healthy. You put me down for things that weren't my fault and laugh at how you and my bio dad screwed my childhood up. It hurts to hear you speak about me like that, and I don't think you understand exactly how much. I've also come to the understanding that you serving alcohol at a 4-year-old's birthday party without even telling Dad isn't normal. This isn't a one-time thing. You start drinking at 8 a.m. and don't stop until bed. You have 2 problems, and until you get some serious help with both of them, I would like very little contact with you. Please don't contact me outside of an emergency." I then blocked her from texting me. I know this isn't as dramatic of an update as y'all were hoping for, but I hope that someone can take something from it. I know it's only been a few days, but I have no regrets. Maybe going cold turkey offer was what I needed.
First off, I'm glad that OP decided to do what he did to speak with his stepfather. It's great that he has a relationship with his stepdad. I know some people hold grudges and, hold resentment towards step-parents because of them seemingly breaking up the family, but sometimes step-parents can be more like real parents than even your biological parents, in all honesty. And in this case, we see that to a T. OP's stepdad stepped in, had conversation with him, was willing to, allow OP to confide in him, was willing to kind of support OP through this particular process, continues to, support OP in being able to see his sister through this process. It's commendable that OP was even willing to continue to help his mom to get the kind of help she needs. And, honestly, this update further solidifies what I said in the first section, where I kind of went over the first portion of the story, where OP's mom is dealing with trauma. There is trauma there, whether it's just from the previous marriage that she had, or whether it's from that plus childhood trauma that she's experienced. There is something there. The fact that OP said that his mother starts drinking first thing in the morning and doesn't finish until late in the evening, that's a problem. That's not normal for people to do unless they are trying to cope with a particular situation. I don't know exactly what the situation or the issues are that she has to work through. I mean, I can imagine what some of them could be, but I definitely think that it is a completely amazing thing that OP is able to really kind of share this moment with his stepdad and, have a great level of love and confidence in knowing that his stepdad is going to support him. It doesn't seem like his bio dad is there and is present, and that's unfortunate for various reasons, for various obvious reasons, to kind of put it bluntly. But the fact that, his stepdad stepped in, I mean, that's great. It seems like OP's mom has a lot of things that she needs to work through. OP probably has a lot of things that he has to work through as well, but it seems like he's at least handling his situations a lot more responsibly, a lot more like an adult should, and he's dealing with them head on. I don't know if he goes to therapy. Everyone, if you don't go to therapy, you need to. I feel like everybody can benefit from therapy. Therapy is not something that should be stigmatized or anything. I go to therapy on a regular basis. It's nothing but just making sure your mind and your spirit is where it needs to be, and that everything is on even keel. I encourage it, but it's real sad whenever you are confronted with situations like this, where you encounter people who are in situations like this, because, you know, from the outside looking in, I bet the friends that OP's mom was sitting around with, they probably looked at the whole, you know, their marriage situation and OP's life and home situation, and they probably knew a little bit, but they probably didn't think that things were this bad. And, you know, it really goes to show how, like, a lot of things are hidden. You really don't know what you don't know. You know, everything can look great. Everything that glitters is not gold. From the outside, everything can look peachy keen, but at the end of the day, you know, until you know the details, until you know the ins and outs of everything, until you know what goes on inside of the beautiful, pretty four walls and the white picket fence, you really don't know. Like, you are really in the dark about everything that takes place. So I hope that OP, for his sake, for his family's sake, for his future family's sake, that he continues to pursue, you know, help and he continues to pursue some type of therapy. That way he doesn't end up walking in the same steps that his mom's walking in, and that he can kind of break this generational curse that's kind of hovered over him and his family up to this point. OP, you're not an a-hole. You are like the least of a-holes, in my opinion. Your sister, absolutely innocent in this entire situation. Your stepdad is a saint. He wins stepdad of the year in my book. I feel like he's a great human being for what he has turned around and done for you, and how he has brought you under his wing, and he shows nothing but love for you, as if you are his own biological child. Your mom, she needs help. OP, your mama needs help. Like, she is going through some stuff. I'm not even gonna sit here and say that OP's mom is an a-hole, because I feel like it goes beyond just doing a-hole-ish things, you know. I feel like it's a situation where she seriously is struggling with some type of mental illness. She's dealing with some mental traumas, some past traumas, and I don't think that she should be, you know, crushed and brought down for that. I don't think that she should be, you know, destroyed and demolished and, you know, be, you know, verbally criticized for that, because, I mean, everybody deals with trauma. However, I do think that she needs to seek help, you know, and she needs to first and foremost be forthright about the fact that she does need help. You know, another thing that I thought about that OP needs to be commended for is, I feel like there's a lot of eyes that would be looking a certain type of way at OP for him deciding to cut his mother off. I feel like sometimes there's that stigma of, you know, when you decide to cut people off and cut people out of your circle, out of your life, you are looked down upon, especially when it's parents or when it's siblings. But you know what? I don't care if it's a family member or a friend. If they are toxic, if they are not bringing any positive wealth and equity into your life, you need to cut them out, you know, because they're not going to do anything but continue to drag you down. So, you know, that's another thing that I feel like OP should be commended for making that adult decision. It's a hard decision, but it's an adult decision nonetheless. And I think it's probably the most beneficial decision of his options that he's made when it comes to his relationship with his mother. You guys, what do y'all think? I'm not a licensed therapist, so I can't give you ins and outs and everything, and I don't know everything, but this is just my thoughts based on the original story as well as the update. You guys, y'all, what do you think? Do you think OP's an a-hole for how he initially left the situation in the beginning? Do you think that the mom's the a-hole? Do you think that she is dealing with this even vaguely in a constructive way? Y'all, whatever you think, let me know down in the comment section your thoughts, your comments, your concerns about this particular story. And if you guys have enjoyed today's video, y'all, please be sure to click the like button, smash that subscription button, as well as the bell notification icon. That way you guys will be notified every single time I upload a brand new video here, and we have some real talk conversations, you guys. I just want you guys to be a part of the community, y'all. I have enjoyed being with you guys, and until next time, many blessings and much love, y'all.